Someone has to start speaking out against all of the falsehood that millions of our people have been misled to believe. So it might as well be me. There is no evidence of the existence of Hebrews ever being in Africa's ancient Egypt. The Bible is not a history book. There is no evidence of the existence of Hebrews in Egypt. According to Exodus 12:40, the Israelites lived in Egypt for 430 years. The Bible mentions Egypt about 700 times, yet there is no mentions of Israelites in any Egyptian history, nor is there any physical evidence of them ever being there. The only story of Jews being there is through biblical scriptures. There is no evidence of a leader named Moses and no synagogues. There is no mention of Jews or the 10 plagues in the extensive history of Egypt. We have no clue, not even a single word about the early Israelites in Egypt. Neither in monumental inscriptions on the walls of the temple, nor are there any tombs is written. Israel is absent as a possible foe of Egypt, as a friend or as an enslaved nation. If the story of Israelites in Egypt was true, there would have been some evidence of this account, but there is absolutely no evidence of them having assimilated into the Egyptian culture. Although the walls of the pyramids were left with thousands of writings upon them documenting the long history of Africa's ancient Egypt, the enslavement of Jewish people was not written even once. Nor was the name Moses ever written, nor was the story about the Red Sea parting even mentioned. Certainly, if the Red Sea had actually parted to allow the Jews to walk through it and then rejoined itself to drown the Pharaoh and his army, such an event would have been documented upon the walls of Egypt. But it's not. It's not documented because the story is totally fabricated. Furthermore, no Jews built the pyramids because Jews didn't exist at the period when the pyramids were actually built. It wasn't until over 600 years after the last of the large pyramids had been built that Israel came into existence, and over 2,000 years after the Great Pyramid had been completed. The Great Pyramid and the Sphinx are also thousands of years older than the biblical timeline of when Shem, the supposed father of the Jews, was even born, making it impossible for Jews to have built anything in Africa's ancient Egypt. Furthermore, radiocarbon dating has scientifically proven that the ancient kingdom of Egypt is older than the biblical timeline of when Adam and Eve were supposedly created, proving that they weren't the first people on earth. The story that Jews were enslaved in Africa's ancient Egypt, and built the pyramids are all lies created by the false European Jews to insert themselves into the great history of Africa's ancient Egypt. Everything we've been taught by the white society are lies. The Bible is a work of fiction. To liberate ourselves, we must function based on what is actually true. When Black people assign our real life oppression and plight onto a work of fiction written by history's proven most notoriously deceitful and most ungodliest group of people, we are in fact making damn fools of ourselves. I will not be silent to appease such ignorance, especially when such ignorance hinders our liberation. I will speak the truth even though millions of our people have been brainwashed to hate those of us who speaks it. Because true Black liberation will only be possible when Black people begin functioning based upon the truth of our plight and condition. Because as long as our understandings of our plight and condition remains flawed, then all of our liberating remedies and strategies that stems from those misunderstandings will also be flawed. The reason why there's rarely any resolve whenever a Black conscious person tries to teach the truth about these facts to a religious person is because the conscious person presents documented facts, critical thinking, reasoning, and common sense. But the Black religious person have been conditioned to ignore all facts that are the contrary of their religious belief and to stand on blind faith. Yes, this sounds very admirable, but it actually imprisons the mind. This abandonment of their critical thinking skills in exchange for blind faith is why it can be very difficult to show the religious person fallacies within their religion, even when presenting them with hard facts and historical evidence. Some will even label those of us who try to free their minds as being sent by the devil to trick them, because they've been conditioned to abandon their critical thinking skills and to ignore all evidence to the contrary of their religion and to stop using common sense. Therefore, their intelligence has therefore been literally decreased by their religion. To try to teach the truth to people that have renounced the use of reason, facts, and common sense can be as challenging as attempting to feed medicine to the dead. But nonetheless, we must keep teaching the truth regardless of this daunting challenge. Those who know must teach, African proverb. We must speak the truth even if the mentally enslaved ones hates us for doing so. We must teach it whether it fills the room or clears it out. We must post the truth whether we're blocked for it, unfriended for it. We must teach the truth even if we're shadow banned for doing so. We must teach the truth regardless of the consequences, because we are called to awaken the sleeping sheep, not to appease the mentally enslaved blind goats. Because as long as our people are kept believing that our plight is connected to a biblical fairy tale, we will keep waiting for a fictional Jesus to come down to earth to rescue us, rather than doing for ourselves, such as developing the proper counter strategies that are necessary in order to liberate ourselves. They've got our people so brainwashed and so mentally enslaved that speaking this truth literally offends millions. Nonetheless, those who know must teach. One love and peace.